So, as we're almost reaching 100 degrees outside, I want to welcome you to this review of a quite fabulous show, which is a lot of fun and actually really good. Today, we're going to talk about the first season of the BBC show Luther, which came out in the year 2010. Of course, you can see it on the cover immediately. You know who that is. You can see it on the poster. You know who that is. That's Idris Elba right there. And I think that's probably the role that got him on mainstream radar. For him to be hired. I think the show became really popular in the United States, so that's why he kind of got mainstream recognition. Perhaps that's how it happened. It's a very British show though. So and he comes, he fits so well with his British accent. But the show, by the way, it went on. It was until 2019 that they still made that show. And I don't know what's going on with it, whether they're going to drop a sixth season, I don't know. They might. I don't know about any of that, though, to be honest. So let's just pretend this show is done, and that there's only going to be 5 seasons, and that, like I said, that it's done. Now, with that in mind, the show only has 20 episodes in total, spread across 5 seasons. This first season is by far the longest season with 6 episodes. And yeah, it's this really. It's essentially what is it about? You have a police detective or a police officer in Britain, I guess England, possibly London, I think, maybe. That's his name is John Luther, played by Idris Elba. He kind of got into an incident a couple of months back where now the guy that he assaulted or whatever happened, then he's in a coma, so that he's kind of under investigation. He has a wife, and her name is Zoe Luther, and she, played by Indira Varma. I hope I didn't butcher that name. And but she's an estranged wife of his. They don't live together anymore. They kind of had a falling out, and but they're still legally together. But as the investigation was then, I guess, closed, he wanted to see his wife again, but she has a lover now. So he's in this really tough spot, because now at his job, he wants to have his old life back, essentially. He's a good cop. Yeah, but he has his own ways sometimes, and sometimes they're not very much so by the book, So he likes bending the rules, bending the law, to get what he wants. Sounds very much like Anakin Skywalker. And so yeah, that's kind of just the way he does things. Kind of like Dirty Harry, actually. Yeah. So certain people inside the police department, they're still looking at him, in a weird way. Because he's under investigation, or he was possibly cleared. I cannot remember, but he was definitely under fire for sure, and he was definitely at risk of losing his job. And when someone is in a scandal like that, even if you're officially pronounced, heck, if you're officially innocent, not everybody's gonna believe that, first of all, and just because there was some kind of scandalous event with you, they're gonna look at you differently and gonna be like, oh, this guy's trouble, right? So that's kind of the case here. So he doesn't have the full support of the police force with him. He's still looked at as a somewhat of a vigilante and somebody who loses his control fast, which that is kind of true. He gets mad multiple times in this first season alone, and he smashes things and so on. And then, of course, he also wants his old life back with his wife, but she already has a lover, but she's still legally his wife, and it's like now she is in a love triangle because two men are in love with her, right? And she has feelings for John still. She still does. So it's this really difficult spot that John Luther is in. Now, this was a summary of like the first 10 minutes, maybe, of the first episode of Luther. Right. 20 episodes in total. It's amazing to me. Like, I'm gonna have so many videos up for this, absolutely, because it's 5 seasons. In the first episode, there is a character that I thought was going to end up being the main villain of the first season. That didn't really happen. Something else happened, and actually another character turned out to be I guess we can call it the main villain. But another character kind of ended up being the main villain of the first season, and I totally did not see that coming. And in terms of you don't see things coming, we're gonna get to that a little later on. Don't worry, this is a non-spoiler review, so if you have not seen the show yet, you're absolutely in the safe zone here. So at first, I want to say that when I first saw Alice Morgan, the character Alice Morgan, I found her to sometimes be quite frustrating, to be honest, because I don't know, she just kind of like, her vibe is like, really, you're gonna have more conversations with her, John? I just found her weird. But she really has grown on me, and now I actually really like her. I'm not gonna talk about my wishes for certain characters and what did not happen. But I'm gonna just say I like her now, and I kind of am hoping for something. So yeah, but overall, I guess the working relationship between John Luther and Alice Morgan is so weird. It's so weird. But because it's so weird, and because of how weird of a character John Luther is, it just makes sense, and it works. It does work, because guess what? John does not have his life together at all. No. He's quite a mess. He's good at his job. He's good at solving crime, but he doesn't have his life together. No, he's quite a mess in his private life. And he has anger issues. He really does. So yeah, and I also think the chemistry between Idris Elba and Indira Varma, who, like I said, plays his estranged wife Zoe Luther, I think it's a very good chemistry. And I totally shipped them together. I was like, I really, really like this romance, and I would love for them to continue, right? And not this other guy, this other lover. I believe his name is Mark. Basically, the show started off well, and it ended even better. Episode 4 was better than episodes 1, 2, 3. Then episode 5 topped episode 4. And then episode 6, the last episode, the season 1 finale, that one then topped episode 5 and ended up... So it's literally like one episode after another that just keeps on topping the previous one, which is really awesome. If you're watching a show, like you're watching it, you like the episode, and then you're like, all right, next episode is gonna be even better, right? If you knew this, I don't know. For me, coincidentally, it just kind of was like, episode 1 was like the best one, including the first 3 episodes. Then the 4th episode topped all the other ones. Then the 5th episode topped all the other ones. Then the 6th episode topped all the other ones. So that was really cool. I gotta tell you, generally speaking, you have a lot of unexpected storylines unfolding, and we have twists that we just don't see coming. I mean, you might see some twists coming, but no way you're gonna see all of them coming. There's no way. No, you're capping. I won't believe you. Or you might have heard something, and subconsciously you kind of put it into your brain, and then kind of came out, and you're like, oh yeah, logical. Nah, dude, I don't believe it. If you didn't know anything about this show, like myself, really, then some of the twists you absolutely will not see coming. There's not. Here's one thing that I absolutely love. There is not always a happy ending to crime cases, which, yeah, and I really like that because that is more realistic and also more thrilling. You know, you have a crime case, and so many times in these like TV shows, you have like all the time, oh yeah, there's a happy ending. Oh yeah, we got the bad guys at the end. Like, oh yeah, and day is saved, and we get to eat some donuts and drink a coffee, right? And then the episode's over. And then next episode, there's a crime case, and then it gets solved by the end. They eat a donut and drink some coffee, right? It's just always the same thing. In this case, in this show, there's quite a few things going wrong, and it just, because of that, it keeps it fresh, it keeps it unique, and it keeps it exciting, and you as the audience are engaged and you literally don't know how it's going to end. And that is by far one of the best things any show or movie can do, if it keeps you on the edge of your seat. Alright? If it can accomplish that, the show, then you're hooked in, you want to find out more, you care about the characters, you want to solve this mystery with the cops and hope that the cops survive and make it out of the situation alive, right? And that the bad guys get stopped. That's exactly what you're hoping for. And especially here, you are engaged. Because you don't know how it's going to end, and because you like the characters. The characters are likable. So that's one thing that I thought was absolutely fantastic. And yet, like, you know, in real life, it's not like every crime case gets solved. No. I like to think that most of them get solved, but the truth is, sometimes they either don't get solved or you're too late. The police is too late. It happens. And I like that the show portrays that, because that is an accurate representation of crime cases, in my opinion. At least from what I know, right? When a crime case is not solved in time, you really feel that disappointment yourself. You know, so it's not just you seeing the characters being disappointed. No, you as the audience are also like, oh man, like you're genuinely disappointed yourself, and I think that's a great thing. Towards the end of the season, like I said, I really started liking Alice, and I thought she ended up being quite a terrific character. She's an awesome character, I have to say, and I cannot wait to see more of her. Right. And I gotta tell you, man, what a season finale. I actually couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how good it was. Now, episode 5, perhaps, I don't know which one's more exciting. It may be episode 5, possibly, you know, but episode 6, I thought was a better executed episode. It was kind of also more interesting because the writers really wrote themselves into a corner. And to the point where it's like, alright, this is really tough to kind of get out of this situation. Well, you know, to write it well. And I think they totally pulled that off. And yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this show. In my season 5 review, you're gonna get my final verdict, thus also my rating. I'm not gonna give that yet because the show is pretty much done, and I know I'm gonna review the other seasons too, so there's no point in me giving you a final rating right now. So terrific show, Luther, my days. I'm very excited for season 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.